Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined once again by Lori Varsames to talk more about the work she does as a professional and personal coach from beautiful Sonoma, California. She joins us again here to talk more about the work she's doing, particularly with women our age, midlife, going through, changes, whether it's burnout, stagnation, and just those who really want to start creating a new life, feel that adventure, make different choices, and feel good about themselves, and want to welcome you back right now. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Jill. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks. How's the weather in California?
Oh, well, we've been getting our seasonal rains, which is necessary and nice, but we miss the sun.
I'm sure. But temperature-wise, are you in the 70s right now, or?
No, it goes pretty much 40s to like low 60s this week.
You're kidding. Well, I'm not
No.
feeling so bad then. Okay, I just thought New York was cold now, but all right. Well, thank you for being here again. Pleasure to have you. And for those new time listeners, I know we're going to have a great conversation about some of the things you can help women with. But first and foremost, tell us a little bit about the work you do, if you don't mind.
Sure. I am a personal and professional coach. I'm certified. I specialize in midlife. And I really serve people who are feeling burnout, stagnation, overwhelm that comes with this time in life, and try to help them create lives of freedom, adventure, and choice.
I love it. And just a little bit about your background. I may know, but new time listeners don't know. Could I ask how you got involved in this field? Would you mind sharing?
Yeah, sure. I think like all coaches, we tend to be coaches our whole lives, right? People who enjoy holding the space for people who are going through stuff, and want to encourage the best in people. And then I really stepped into this new profession after a career in sales and marketing during the pandemic, when a lot of my friends and family were going through big changes. And I realized that there's kind of a hole missing in getting support for midlife.
And here you are helping so many. And if you want to explore more
Yeah.
about Lori, you can go to her website. It's spelled LORIVARSAMES.com. There's packages, there's group coaching sessions. There's a lot she's going to talk about today. But first and foremost, it's good to find out, specifically some of the things you're working with women. I know we may talk about toxic workplaces, the disadvantage of being a woman still working. There's a lot that plays into us as women and what we go through. So where did you want to start for today?
Oh gosh, I guess I'm so inspired by my clients because they really go through a lot, and they really teach me a lot about the power of resilience and motivation to get through difficult times. And even in the face of trauma, a lot of my clients come to me from toxic workplaces where they're often marginalized. They might be doing well in their careers and up the corporate ladder, but they're still playing the game of junior team members because they have to people please, because there's not a lot of room for women who are loud and proud in the workplace, right? They're constantly having to people please and tone it down. There's a lot of tone policing that goes on for women in the workplace, particularly if you're a woman of color. And I think it makes it really tough to feel really comfortable and psychologically safe in the workplace. We don't really talk about psychological safety in workplaces, but it's a huge thing right now. And that's why a lot of people prefer working from home, frankly.
Now that's good and bad, right? Because there's so much good to come out of the working home factor. Then there's the bad. But is there any perfect choice or solution? No. But you're right. Working from home, working alone, not having that pressure, that peer pressure in a sense, and all that comes with it. But can I just ask you some specific examples about some of the things that have happened in the workplace with some of the women that you've worked with over the years?
Sure. Yeah. I'm thinking of a client too who is in international finance and was very well established in her career, who was really being expected to be available morning, noon, and night. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't, and because she didn't have children, there was an added pressure of, well, you don't have anything you need to go home to kind of
Oh,
attitude. Yeah, she was up at 5 a.m. doing, meetings in other time zones and often ending up, at 9 o'clock at night wrapping things up. And it just doesn't create much of a life. And
yep.
when she was asking for support, she wasn't really getting it in the workplace. And in fact, she kept getting demoted time and time again. And even though she was really the crux of her team and she was supporting everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and she was doing really well. I mean, she had such great credentials. And then she ended up feeling badly about herself in the process, which is such garbage because she had so much to offer. She's incredible. But since we've done the work, and she did the work, she just came to me for the coaching. Um, she has started a new career. She's found balance in her life. She takes vacations again, and she's in a lot better way.
Mm-hmm. Good example. I love it, by the way. Got the memo, right? The blue, green today. What are we wearing? And
Exactly.
women in the workforce too. I have to say, I remember always working and I found that my male boss was always very inquisitive or about what we were wearing, right? I worked in a television newsroom for a while and there was always comments about the legs or about the pantyhose or I'm like, why? And we felt it was discriminating. It was a little like he would only say something if we were in a skirt. Why? Why can't we wear, it's just there's
Right.
a lot of that subjectivity and discrimination. And then when we used to come
Absolutely.
to work and wear pantsuits, oh, no skirt today? Like insinuating what you're not supposed to be insinuating, which you get in trouble for. But that was also some pressures of working out there as a female in my
Oh,
business as well. It's horrible to think that that stuff still goes on, but it does. And this is 2 years ago. So, yeah, but I'm sure you've
oh, I
dealt with
can't
a
even
lot of that
imagine.
type of,
Well, yeah, and if you're in a newsroom too, Jill, you're probably front and center with the public too. So there's this whole thing about having to play that game, not just internally, but also playing it to the masses as well. Like this is what I'm wearing, and men just start slapping on a tie and button up their shirt, and they're calling it good, and no one's making comments. Yeah, there's a
Mhm,
lot of microaggression in the workplace, a ton. I've been through it. I was in the wine business. I was often the only woman, often
mhm.
the youngest where I worked, and I was catching hell like that all the time. And so what's awful is I think you and I and a lot of other midlifers kind of come from the generation where we just smile and kind of laugh it off. But I love seeing these younger women because they're coming out with guns blazing, like you can't talk to me like that. That's not acceptable. um, I really admire it. And
Yep.
I found myself, I was in a workplace where there were a lot of young women who hadn't experienced a lot of the stuff that I had in the workplace. And I was telling them stories, and they were outraged.
Appalled.
And my first thought,
Yeah.
well, yeah, and they should be. My first thought was like, oh, well, they haven't taken their licks yet. And I thought to myself, that's so toxic. It's toxic that I have become ingrained into that culture that I have to expect that younger women have to go through this in order as a rite of passage, and it's twisted.
Wow.
You're entirely right.
Well, I remember one time being hired. It was 2014, right? And I went to human resources to start all my hiring paperwork. And the human resource director, smart or not smart, for her to be so open with me to say, yeah, yeah, you got the job. Yeah, there was too many people that, he was worried about them wanting to have kids. And yeah, but you're single, so you're not. And I'm like, did you really just say this? That is like so what we're supposed to go to you for. And she's like, that's just the way they are. That's just the way they are. You'll see this newsroom. And I'm like, are you serious? So
Wow.
meanwhile, you know what I did? I went and I had a kid all by myself, like probably a year after I started working there. And I was just like determined to and I did.
Do it differently.
But
Good
here
for
you are judging
you.
me because I'm not married and didn't have any kids. And I'm like, meanwhile, I always wanted children and I couldn't. So long story short, I did it by myself. But good news is that news director and the general manager, they're gone. They've been gone. So
I bet
the
they are.
toxicity
Yeah.
in the workplace finally got with tears could I mean, how do you say that to someone? You're hired because you're like not looking to have a kid. Like, and she actually said that. And I'm like, holy cow, it was hurtful, but then it was like, wow, this stuff is going on at a big station, CBS, New York. I'm just going to say it. So, yeah. Okay, so go ahead. So,
Wow,
I'm sorry
good.
to.
Well, and good for you for calling that out because there is really no room for that. And I totally hear you. I was at an interview once. It was, oh God, this interview was days long, hours long, and I was never even compensated for it. And I ended up finishing up the rounds of interviews. I don't know, there were like 7 people I needed to see. And I went in and I said, oh, yeah, here's the CEO. He'd love to meet you. And then the CEO said, yeah, well, if you move up here, this is a great place for kids. Do you have kids? And I stopped myself and I thought, here he is, even innocently trying to ask. And I said, or seemingly innocent. And I just said, are you supposed to ask me that question? And he's like, I mean it. And so, it's just interesting because even the ones that mean well are stepping into the quicksand really easily. Just we're
Wow.
culturally
Yep.
ingrained into playing this game where women are somehow lesser. Women need to, like you were saying, it's what you wear. Your worthiness is based on whether or not you have children. Your work ethic is based on whether or
Yep.
not you have children. It's twisted.
It sure is. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Sorry to go on a tangent, but
Yeah.
these are all good
Oh, yeah. No, I
topics.
love it.
What else? What else? What else do we have for today?
Well, I'd say a big part of that, linked to that toxic work culture and the way women show up is that we people please. And part of that, I was totally inspired by a book I read by the Nagoski sisters, I think both of whom are doctors or PhDs, and they wrote a book on burnout, ending the stress cycle. And it really is written for women who feel burnout. And I have a lot of my clients read the book. It's really a fast read and it's very validating that, we are culturally ingrained to, be mothers, to be available. If we're not all of the things, then we're a bad wife, we're a
Mm-hmm.
selfish mother, we are, a not an unengaged teammate and in the workplace. And it's just so twisted that we can't have any boundaries. And so another great book, which I highly recommend, is by Melissa Urban, who wrote, she's the one who started the Whole 30, the book of boundaries. And that is a fabulous book about learning how
Mm.
to say no, because people pleasers are, which women, many women are, not a lot. I mean, not all, but many women, because we've been taught that the good girls win, right? Religion teaches us, societal convention teaches us, our mothers and grandmothers teach us, be the good girl, just put yourself last.
Yep.
And so God forbid you're a mother and you work, or God forbid you're a mother and you like take time for a yoga class, or, have your kid in daycare, then you're just an evil mom who doesn't understand what it is to be a real mom. I have heard
Mm.
people in my family criticize, others like that. And it's amazing. It's a generational thing for sure, but it's one that we have to stop if we're going to turn the tide on how women are treated in the workplace.
Beautiful. And remind us how we can contact you again since we're halfway through.
Yes, you can reach me at coach@lorivarsames.com. It's LORIVARSAMES. Or you
Perfect.
can reach me at lorivarsames.com, my website.
All right. Thanks so much. What else did you want to speak about today on the agenda? Some of the things you can help us with.
Well, it's a new year, and we're all kind of in the resolution mode or thinking about things that we want to tweak as we're kind of in the middle of winter, getting ready for spring on the other side. And I'd say that, midlife is a lot like that as well. And we tend not to think about it the same way. Um, we think of it as an old fashioned notion of, oh, we're going through the doldrums, particularly
Mm-hmm.
women, maybe menopause is at bay. We're showing more wrinkles and gray hairs. Our bodies are out of whack. We're more stressed than we ever are because we're at the height of our careers. We're either caregiving children or elderly parents, and so it's an easy time to get stuck. And winter is a great time to get stuck because we're hibernating. We're eating more food. We're kind of in just sleep, going to bed early and all the things. And so it's easy to feel like, oh, my life is dull. I need a
Yep.
little shimmy in my step. And that's where coaching is really great because, the kind of coaching I do too, it's really encouraging people particularly women, to take chances, to step outside of the box, to, the idea of finding vitality in midlife is not to re-find our youth, it's to start living our purpose. And a lot of times when we get to midlife and things aren't going well for us, chances are we've been living the values that we grew up with rather than the values that are our own. So it's a great time to look at what we really do value and what if our lives are in alignment with those values. Once
Mm.
we do that, sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's so true. And could you share another experience or two of someone that you're working with, have worked with, and love hearing the positive testimonials.
Well, sure. I only think trying to think of some great examples. I think I will say this more generally instead of calling out a client, but there are a few women that I've worked with who have, going back to the people pleaser thing, being gracious, being available, being loving and kind. And it's not that they shouldn't be those things, but it's also a time to look at, let's tweak those words. What does that really mean, right? Um, Nice and good and kind actually all have different meanings, and good girls don't necessarily need to be nice to be good. And so when people start realizing those things, and I like, for example, most of my clients are going through some kind of career change, and so they'll look at job descriptions or they'll think, oh, well, maybe I should really take a chance and try this. And I said, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Write down. Let's make sure that you have your list of values posted on the fridge or in your wallet or near your desk. And when you're starting to look at those job descriptions or consider those new careers, look to see if it's in alignment with your values.
Yeah.
It's the same true. I have a client who's, reconsidering whether or not she wants to stay in a long-term relationship. Look at the list of the values. Do you guys share values? Is it worth staying in? Are you going in different directions?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, this is so good. And some of the career changes, it's hard. And, we talked about, I think with the pandemic, a lot of people made that switch, made that took that leap of faith. They didn't have a choice to reinvent themselves to the wheel, but not
right,
everybody knows that. It's like, well, how do I know what else I'm good at? How do I know? How am I going to get a job if I don't have the experience in that job, but I know I'm good at that job? That's where coaching
right.
comes in, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's what's really great. I mean, I do both one-on-one and group coaching sessions. One-on-one is a great time to get in depth and specific to your experience, and group coaching's a great way to kind of experience other people and learn through community, which is really lovely as well. Both are really great opportunities, but I've seen some people take some amazing leaps of faith, whether it's leaving long-term jobs to start their own businesses, or leaving really long-term relationships, or bouncing back after terrible divorce, and moving, uprooting their family and saying, okay, kids, we're going to go move and live in a different area and find a great job and a great new relationship. But a lot of that's about taking a leap of faith, and that's where an accountability partner comes in. It's hard to do that alone sometimes, and having a coach in your corner, somebody who's going to walk alongside you, not in front of you, and help you make the steps that are best for you, not for them.
Yes, yes, it's inspiring. If anyone out there is interested, call Lori, contact us, and tell her that we sent you. Because, besides you offer, I know we talked about packages and how long does it take to kind of change that habit for someone or to make a change in someone's life normally?
Yeah, it really depends. There's some people that I tend to work with clients. We have a commitment of 6 months. About 3 months, that's when a lot of shifting is starting to happen for most of my clients. And at 6 months, that's when we're getting closer. If they've been working hard in between sessions and doing the work that we talk about, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
interviewing people who have a job that they want, or getting curious about new places to live or whatever, if they're doing that work in between sessions, they're going
Right.
to go through quickly. Yeah, sometimes some people take longer, and that I respect everybody's time frame, but very few people take less than that. Big lifestyle changes take time.
And it's time to, start showing up for yourself and living your dream, living your best life. And we got to inspire
Yes.
these women, right? So when you say mid, so we're talking like 40s, 50s, 60s, like what's considered your
Yeah.
optimal client? And do you also work with men or is it just ladies?
I do work with men. I really love working with members of the LGBTQIA plus community, but mostly women or people who identify as women. I think that there's a need for that, mostly age 38 through early 60s. I know that sounds like a big swath, but that's really when a lot of people are making big changes. There's some people, like I said before, everyone's on their own time frame, and when they go through their midlife blues, um, it changes for everybody.
It sure does. Also, we talked about what was the other thing you wanted to talk about? We talked about toxicity in the workplace, kind of. Well,
Oh
if you,
yeah, people
right.
pleasing.
That was
Yeah,
people pleasing. What else was on
yes.
the agenda? I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. No, I think just I'm getting ready to do an upcoming group coaching session starting. It's a group coaching program. It's 10 weeks long.
Okay.
It's 15 hours of coaching. It's on Wednesdays via Zoom, so it doesn't make a difference if you're in New York or if you're on the West Coast. You can probably make it. It's on Wednesdays starting on February 21st to April 24th from 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So it's 8:30 p.m. East Coast time. And it's an hour and a half for 10 weeks in a row. And it's really transformative. This group coaching program, it's awesome because women in the group stay connected even after it's over. Basically, you come to the session having prepared, I share a Dropbox folder with recordings and worksheets and reflection questions. And then they come to the group coaching session and we talk about fixed mindsets. We talk about how to support one another. We talk about owning your
Hmm.
self-worth and letting go of old narratives, all things that are really valuable, particularly to women in midlife. And it's a
Yay.
really great value too. Yeah, it's about half the price of one-on-one coaching, and you get 3 extra hours. So it's great.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
There's some great testimonials that are popping up on my screen. If you go to the website,
Hmm.
there's a lot of people thanking you for the work that you've done. And I just want
Yeah.
people to point that out. Go to LoriVarsames.com, LoriVarsames. And if you're thinking about changing careers or even starting a whole new business, now that's something different, right? To build a company.
Totally.
And you're good with that, right?
Oh,
Because I'd be like,
yeah, I
what?
love that. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just about getting your footing in the early stages. Having a sales and marketing background, I do offer people the opportunity to kind of let me be a little bit of a consultant on a couple of things, but I still like to keep true to the coaching model of not giving advice.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, for one client, I worked with her for 6 months and we worked on confidence and taking a leap from a long time job and changing careers. And now she's very successfully started her own consulting business. I'm so proud of her. She's just amazing. And I'm still in touch with her. I still hear good news from her all the time.
That is awesome. We like hearing success stories. And we only have 3 minutes left in the show. How did you want to kind of lead it off for us today about the work you're doing, any upcoming classes, coaching, any deals, any packages that you want us to know more about?
Well, yeah, while I love group coaching, one-on-one coaching is really the heart of my practice.
Hmm.
I offer a free 30-minute chemistry call to see if we're a good fit. So if you go to my
Yep.
website at Lori Varsames, VARSAMES.com, you're going to see a link to book a session. So just sign up for a 30-minute session. You have nothing to lose. You can tell me about what's going on in your life, where you'd like to be, what some of your frustrations are, and we'll see if we're a good fit and talk about if coaching's right for you.
Awesome. Awesome. And if they want to reach you, tell us how.
Yeah, coach at lorivarsames.com, LORIVARSAMES. Or you can even text me at 510-872-2827.
Perfect. And social media pages, right? You're on social, right?
Yes, yes. Thanks for reminding me. Yes,
All right. I'm
I'm
trying to
on
think too.
Instagram and
Instagram,
Facebook
Facebook, right? Okay. Uh-huh.
and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is often a safer place for people to connect with me because it's pretty private. Whereas, Facebook people can see, but DM me if you see a post that you like. DM me and let's talk. On my Instagram page and even on my Facebook, you see my Linktree account, which can take you to my website, a click to a way to booking the 30-minute chemistry call and a bunch of
I
other
was going to
things.
say, yes, that 30-minute chemistry call. I like the way you say that. So, yes, that is available. If you have any questions, she's here. And that's a good deal. Free conversation. Why not?
Yeah.
You never know where a path may go and where we can grow.
Absolutely. Well, gosh, thanks so much for your time today, Jill. It was a great
Hey,
conversation.
thank you. And don't forget the Midlife Masterpiece 10-week grouping coaching. Is there still room for that starting February
Yes.
21st?
Yes, there's still some slots. We keep that a pretty small group, so it's really nice and intimate, and you really build lovely relationships. So
Okay.
starting February 21st and going through April 24th.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You have a fantastic day and can't wait till we talk again. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.